The horizon bled out the last of the day, burning through shades of apricot and bruised violet before surrendering to the encroaching indigo. High above, the air grew thin and cold, but down here, the garden held the heat of the afternoon in its soil. A single point of light broke the stillness of the upper atmosphere, descending in a slow, calculated arc. It moved not with the chaotic tumble of a falling object, but with the steady intent of a homing beacon. The colors of the world deepened, turning trees into jagged silhouettes against the darkening blue. The light drifted lower, passing through the canopy of a broad oak, dancing past swaying branches that brushed against the silence of the night. It dipped below the fence line, navigating the shadows of the backyard with precision. Finally, the descent ended. The light hovered for a heartbeat, casting long, wavering shapes against the ground, before settling onto a thick, damp patch of moss. The movement ceased. The garden exhaled, and the transition from the vast reach of the heavens to the quiet, hidden corner of the earth was complete. The moss yielded slightly under the weight of the tiny visitor. Pip remained still, his golden luminescence beginning to bleed outward from his core. It was not a harsh glare, but a soft, steady radiance that pushed back the encroaching shadows of the backyard. As he settled, a low vibration rippled through the air around him. It was a rhythmic, musical hum, consistent and soothing, like the distant resonance of a struck bell. This sound rippled through the blades of grass, causing them to sway in a gentle, artificial breeze. Where his light touched, the dull brown earth transformed, revealing the vivid, emerald textures of the moss and the dew-slicked stones nearby. He pulsed once, a slow expansion of warmth that turned the dark patch of soil into a glowing golden island. He hovered slightly above the surface, bobbing in place, his light casting long, dancing silhouettes against the garden wall. Every flicker of his core sent a ripple of gold across the ground, illuminating the hidden complexity of the garden floor. The darkness retreated, held at bay by the unwavering amber embrace of his presence. He was a beacon in the quiet, a small, steady heart of light in the vast, cooling night. Pip pulled away from the moss, drifting forward like a buoy caught in a slow current. He glided over a patch of exposed earth, his golden light revealing the intricate patterns of dried soil and tiny, winding roots. He stopped to hover above a cluster of smooth, gray pebbles. As his glow washed over them, the stones shimmered, reflecting the amber warmth back into the air. Pip descended lower, circling the stones, watching how his light traced the jagged edges of a fallen twig. He moved with a sense of deliberate discovery, investigating every texture the garden offered. He drifted toward a wide, waxy leaf that lay flat against the ground. When his light touched the surface, the leaf became translucent, showing the delicate web of veins beneath its skin. Pip pulsed, brightening his output, and the leaf seemed to glow from within, turning into a vibrant green lantern. He drifted further, his hum vibrating against the damp soil, pushing deeper into the quiet yard. He found a small furrow in the dirt, likely carved by the night's rain, and followed its path as if it were a map. Everything here was new, a miniature landscape waiting to be mapped by his steady, guiding light. Pip drifted past a dense, tangled hedge, his golden light washing over the dark stems. The garden remained still, the only sound the faint, dry rustle of leaves against his passing form. He moved with a steady, floating grace, tracing the perimeter of the shadows. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing flash of yellow light cut through the gloom near the base of a dense bush. It was not his own warm amber, but a crisp, electric spark that vanished as quickly as it had arrived. Pip stopped dead in the air, his golden glow dimming slightly as he pivoted toward the disturbance. He hovered, waiting, his own light pulsing slowly in the expectant silence. A second flicker ignited, brighter this time, dancing briefly before sinking back into the thicket. The rhythmic humming of his core faltered, caught in a moment of surprise. He had been alone in this vast, dark space, and now, something else was signaling from the periphery. He lowered his altitude, moving cautiously toward the bush, his curiosity sharpened by the impossibility of the light. The darkness of the thicket seemed to swallow the small sparks, yet the trace of that yellow light lingered in his vision like an afterimage. He drifted closer, intent on unraveling the mystery of the blinking light. Pip pushed aside a drooping branch, his golden radiance illuminating the hidden corner of the thicket. There, clinging to a jagged twig, was the source of the yellow sparks. It was a small, winged creature, no larger than a pebble, holding a rhythmic light within its body. Pip hovered inches away, his own warm amber glow bathing the creature in a soft, steady hum. He tilted his form, watching the yellow light pulse in sharp, deliberate intervals. It was a rapid, staccato language of light that felt entirely different from his own constant, gentle brilliance. Pip pulsed his own light in response, testing the air between them. The creature did not retreat. Instead, it shifted its position, its wings vibrating with a tiny, high-pitched whir that harmonized with Pip's own internal chime. Pip drifted even closer, his golden edges blurring into the space where the yellow light met the dark air of the bush. He remained perfectly still, a golden anchor in the shadow, mesmerized by the way the creature communicated through simple, bright bursts. The two lights hung suspended in the quiet, creating a small, vibrant pocket of brilliance that defied the surrounding night. Pip felt a strange resonance, a sense of recognition as he observed the rhythmic flashing, realizing he was no longer alone in this garden. The firefly remained fixed on the leaf, its yellow beacon flaring with rhythmic intensity. Pip watched the light swell and recede, a silent heartbeat in the damp garden air. He felt a deep, pulsing curiosity that pushed him forward, his own golden light intensifying until the surrounding leaves shimmered with reflected warmth.
He hovered so close that he could feel the tiny vibration of the air caused by the creature's wings.
Pip gathered his focus, his internal energy humming with a soft, melodic resonance. He wanted to understand the reason behind the spark, the purpose of such a fleeting, brilliant rhythm. He tilted his glowing form,
softening his radiance to show he meant no harm. "Hello," Pip whispered. The word carried the clear, crystalline quality of a small silver bell,
ringing softly against the stillness of the backyard. He pulsed his light gently in time with his voice,
a golden invitation to share the secret. "Why do you glow?" he asked again,
his tone filled with the earnest weight of a star learning about the earth. He held his position, waiting for the firefly to react, his golden light casting long, steady shadows as he leaned in to catch any movement or change in the creature's pattern. The garden held its breath, the silence waiting for an answer to his simple, profound inquiry. The firefly did not speak, but its response was immediate and luminous. It snapped its wings open,
lifting off the leaf with a sudden, sharp flick of yellow light. It rose in a tight, precise circle,
its glow carving a golden ring into the indigo air. Pip drifted backward, his own light dimming slightly to better track the creature's path.
The firefly looped again, faster this time, its tiny beacon flashing in perfect sync with each turn. Pip felt himself drawn into the rhythm, his golden form mirroring the flight path as he orbited the same invisible center.
The firefly flashed twice a rapid, staccato pulse and darted toward a nearby fern,
circling the stem before returning to Pip. It was a dance of invitation, a silent language written in light that required no words to understand.
Pip hummed, a low, resonant sound that vibrated through the grass,
feeling the distance between them vanish. Every time the firefly completed a loop, it paused mid-air, its light holding steady for a heartbeat before exploding into another streak of yellow. Pip pivoted, his golden core spinning in tandem with his new companion. They moved through the garden like two wandering sparks, weaving a web of light against the encroaching dark. The backyard felt smaller, warmer, and suddenly full of purpose. Pip hovered in the cool night air, his golden light reflecting off the dew-touched leaves. He watched the firefly closely, noting how the flashes were not random sparks but deliberate pulses.
One short flash followed by a long, steady glow. Pip pulsed his own light in imitation, and the firefly responded instantly with a synchronized flicker. It was a silent dialogue.
Pip realized these tiny creatures used their radiance to bridge the vast, ink-black spaces between the garden plants. They were not merely glowing, they were speaking. The firefly darted toward a dense cluster of shadows, its yellow signal cutting through the gloom to mark a clear path. Pip followed, seeing how the light acted as a living map,
guiding the creature through the maze of stems and thorns. He understood now that the dark was not an empty void to be feared.
Instead, it was a canvas for these small lanterns to find their way home and greet their kin.
Every blink held a message, a secret greeting exchanged in the quiet of the backyard.
Pip pulsed his golden core in a rhythmic pattern, sending a soft reply back into the night.
He had discovered the hidden language of the garden, a map of light woven into the fabric of the dark. Pip hung suspended in the stillness, his golden core pulsing with a newfound clarity. The logic of the flashes lingered in his mind, transforming the once empty backyard into a theater of hidden meanings. He turned slowly, scanning the perimeter of the bushes and the deep shadows beneath the oak. There, near the fence line, a faint yellow pulse answered a distant blink from the hydrangea. Then another, deeper in the tall grass. Pip drifted higher, his hum softening as he watched the garden come alive with rhythmic signals. It was not just one conversation, but a symphony of light flickering across the dark. He realized that every shadow he had previously feared was actually a threshold for these tiny travelers. Each blink was an anchor, a way to hold on to the world while the night deepened around them. His awe intensified as he watched a complex sequence of pulses bounce between three separate points. They were coordinating, sharing information, and maintaining their community through the silent medium of radiance. The backyard was no longer a static collection of plants and earth. It was a living, interconnected web of light.
Pip felt the scale of his discovery expanding, his golden glow brightening in resonance with the quiet energy of the garden.
He was witnessing a secret world, an invisible language that turned the darkness into a bustling, vibrant home. The garden's symphony faded into the background as a sudden breeze swept through the yard.
It carried the scent of damp earth and something colder, deeper. Pip hovered, his golden light flickering against the sudden gust.
He looked up. The canopy of leaves parted, revealing the vast, dark expanse of the sky. It was no longer a familiar ceiling, but a bottomless void that stretched beyond his comprehension.
The sheer scale of the darkness pressed down on him, heavy and silent. He felt a sudden, sharp sense of isolation.
Down here, the fireflies had their maps and their signals, but up there, everything seemed adrift in an infinite sea of shadow. Pip pulsed his light, but the glow did not reach the distant stars. It barely touched the branches above him. The garden felt smaller now, a tiny pocket of safety clinging to the edge of a great, mysterious silence. He remained suspended, his core light dimming as he tried to grasp the vastness of the space above. No signals blinked back from the velvet depths. No patterns emerged in the ink-black distance.
He was just a single point of light, dwarfed by a horizon that held no answers.
The mystery of the expanse began to settle over him, leaving him quiet and still in the face of the unknown.
Pip turned his gaze upward again, searching for the golden warmth he remembered from before. The sky was an empty,
ink-stained canvas. Where was the source? Where did the brilliant light retreat to when the dark took hold?
He drifted in a slow, aimless circle, his own light casting long, trembling shadows against the leaves.
He pulsed brighter, testing the horizon, but the darkness swallowed his inquiry without a trace. He felt a phantom chill, a lingering absence where the heat should have been. The sky remained indifferent,
a vast expanse of velvet that offered no clues. Pip hovered in place, his hum low and uncertain.
He looked to the east, then the west, searching for a trace of the fading glow that usually crowned the world.
Nothing. The silence of the night felt heavy, thick with the weight of this missing presence. He could not reconcile the world he knew with the void that had replaced it. "Where does the sun go?" he whispered.
His voice small against the immense, starless quiet. The question hung in the air, vibrating like a plucked string. He waited for an echo, for a sign, for any shift in the shadows that might reveal the secret.
The night offered only a deeper, darker stillness, leaving Pip suspended in the center of his own growing unease.
Pip hovered, his golden glow pulsing with the rhythm of his own confusion. The darkness felt absolute.
Yet he refused to accept that the light had simply vanished. He closed his inner eye, sensing the massive,
silent weight of the world beneath him. A sudden thought pushed through the void. What if the light had not died, but merely traveled? He imagined the earth as a great, spinning sphere. He visualized the sun,
not as a fading memory, but as a traveler resting on the far side of the globe. The realization hit him like a warm current. The sun was not gone. It was simply taking a long, golden nap, waiting for its turn to wake the morning. The relief was instantaneous. His core expanded, his light brightening as the fear of the unknown evaporated.
He felt the planet tilt, a slow and steady rotation that promised the inevitable return of day. The night was no longer a permanent void, but a quiet, necessary pause. He watched the horizon, no longer searching for a lost ghost, but waiting for the dawn that he now understood was already on its way.
The heavy mystery dissolved into a simple, beautiful truth. He was part of a cycle,
a turning wheel of light and shadow, and for the first time, he felt completely connected to the world below. A soft, pearlescent glow began to bleed over the fence line, pushing back the deepest shadows of the yard. Pip turned, his hum changing pitch as he tracked the slow ascent of the moon. It climbed the sky, a pale lantern taking its turn to watch over the sleeping earth. The silver light spilled across the grass, turning the dew into scattered diamonds. Pip felt the influence of this new radiance. He looked down at his own golden core and intentionally let the brightness fade, pulling his energy inward until his glow became a soft, steady pulse. He was syncing his rhythm to the world around him. The garden responded. The shadows lost their jagged, threatening edges, softening into long, graceful shapes that stretched across the lawn. Pip drifted lower, his movements becoming fluid and slow. He felt the quiet settle into his very center, a cool, tranquil frequency that mirrored the moon's steady watch. The urgency of his earlier search was gone, replaced by a profound stillness. He hovered just above a patch of clover, his light now a gentle amber companion to the silver-washed night. The garden breathed with him. Every leaf seemed to exhale, and Pip, grounded by the moon's presence, felt his light hold a steady, peaceful hum that anchored him to the calm of the earth. Pip drifted toward the dense, dark foliage where the firefly hovered. The tiny creature pulsed one last time,
a sharp yellow spark against the deep green leaves. Pip slowed his own hum, matching the rhythmic deceleration of his small companion.
He watched the firefly land on the underside of a waxy leaf, its legs gripping the surface with mechanical precision. The firefly folded its wings inward, tucking them tight against its body until the yellow glow began to constrict. It was not a sudden disappearance, but a slow, calculated dimming, as if the creature were pulling its light back into its own core. Pip remained motionless in the air, his own glow hovering just inches away, observing the transition. The firefly shifted once, settling its weight into the curve of the leaf.
And then the final flicker died out. The leaf remained still. The tiny lantern was extinguished.
And the firefly was now just a small, quiet shape merging with the shadows. Pip watched the spot where the light had been, feeling the sudden absence of that yellow pulse. The garden felt heavier, more grounded, as if every living thing were signaling that the time for movement had ended. He stayed hovering, observing the stillness, waiting until he was certain the creature was tucked away into the deep, protective silence of the garden.
Pip hovered in the absolute stillness, his golden core casting only a faint, soft aura upon the leaf.
He looked at the place where the firefly had vanished. It was not gone, it was simply resting. The thought rippled through him, changing his understanding of the dark. He had feared the shadows, seeing them as gaps where the world might fall away, but the firefly had shown him the truth. Darkness was not an enemy to be chased off.
It was a soft, velvet blanket pulled tight over the earth. It was a space made specifically for the world to draw its breath and dream.
Pip turned his focus inward, intentionally dialing back his own brilliance. He let his light dim, shedding the sharp, searching rays he had carried since his arrival.
As his glow softened, the garden became more visible, revealing the gentle silhouettes of sleeping flowers and the curved lines of resting branches.
He felt a profound sense of security settle into his core. The night was a sanctuary,
a quiet room designed for peace. He understood now that he did not need to shine constantly to be safe. He could pulse with the rhythm of the garden, becoming a part of the stillness rather than a contrast to it.
He felt his light stabilize, no longer a beacon, but a gentle, steady presence within the calm. The silence of the garden was absolute until a single, sharp sound cut through the air. It was a rhythmic scrape,
a tiny percussion from deep within the tall grass. Pip turned, his golden light swaying in the air as he tracked the origin of the noise. A cricket shifted its wings, rubbing them together to produce a steady, pulsing beat. Pip hovered, listening. The sound was not chaotic or alarming. It was precise. It was a measured cadence that seemed to measure the very pulse of the night. Then, from the bushes,
a second voice joined. Then, a third. Soon the entire yard was alive with the sound of 1,000 tiny instruments playing in unison.
The air hummed with the vibration. Pip felt the sound waves pass through his own glowing form.
A gentle physical pulse that matched his own inner light. The chorus was a lullaby.
A steady, predictable rhythm that rose and fell like a slow, deep breath.
He stopped searching for the source and simply let the sound wash over him. Each chirp was a tether connecting him to the earth below.
The garden was not empty. It was singing itself to sleep. The song filled every corner of the backyard,
turning the darkness into a tangible, melodic space where nothing needed to be feared.
The cricket's song anchored the garden, turning the vast darkness into a bounded, intimate space.
Pip drifted just inches above the clover, watching the long shadows stretch across the lawn.
He no longer felt the urge to illuminate the corners or chase away the gloom. The night had revealed its true purpose.
It was not a void, but a soft, heavy blanket draped over the world to ensure safety.
He watched a single leaf fall from a branch, landing silently on the grass without a stir. Everything was bowing to the rhythm of rest.
The anxiety that had defined his early journey had dissolved, replaced by a weightless sense of belonging.
He felt the cool night air brush against his glow, tempering his intensity.
His golden light did not fight the indigo dusk. It sat comfortably within it. The garden was a nursery of stillness, and he was its quiet witness. He realized that the world needed this pause, this deep, dark silence to recharge for the coming dawn. He hovered in the center of the yard, his light pulsing in perfect harmony with the slow,
rhythmic chirping of the insects. The fear of being lost had vanished,
replaced by the certainty of being exactly where he was meant to be, cradled in the calm of a sleeping earth.
Pip remained suspended in the center of the yard, his golden glow oscillating with a new, deliberate cadence.
He was no longer an intruder in the night, but a participant. As the crickets chirped,
his light expanded in a soft wave, reaching out toward the dark edges of the grass, then retracted inward as the song dipped in volume. It was a physical conversation. He felt the rhythm of the garden flowing through him, a steady, pulsing heartbeat that mirrored the life hidden in the dirt and the trees. Every flicker of his core became a pulse of energy that matched the silent breathing of the earth itself. He pushed his light out, a slow, golden breath that illuminated the dew on the blades of grass before pulling back into a tight, focused sphere. The timing was exact. There was no hesitation, no erratic movement. He was the metronome of the backyard, his brilliance dimming and brightening in a perfect, hypnotic cycle. The world around him felt heavy and grounded, yet his light felt weightless. He drifted slightly, bobbing on the unseen currents of the air, his golden pulse holding the rhythm of the night. The connection was complete. He was breathing with the garden, flickering with the crickets, and resting with the soil beneath him. The garden floor could no longer hold him. Pip felt the gravity of the soil loosen its grip as he tilted his axis upward.
His golden light flared once, a final salute to the clover and the crickets,
before he began his slow, steady rise. He drifted past the reach of the low-hanging branches, feeling the air grow thin and crisp against his glow. Below him, the backyard shrank into a mosaic of dark shapes and soft textures.
He carried the wisdom of the earth within his pulse.
The memory of the firefly's language and the rhythm of the hidden soil now etched into his core. The garden became a small, silent island in the vast sea of the night. He did not look back. His movement was fluid, an upward glide that defied the weight of the world he had just explored. The higher he climbed, the more the horizon seemed to expand, revealing the true scale of the indigo expanse waiting for him.
He was a beacon rising from the roots to the stars, a traveler returning to his own kind. The wind caught him,
lifting him further into the dark, silent reaches of the sky. He felt the vastness welcoming him home, his steady, golden rhythm cutting through the cool, quiet air as he left the world of shadows far beneath his feet.
The velvet expanse of the upper sky stretched out, endless and silent. Pip slowed his ascent,
his golden light dimming to a gentle, steady hum. He drifted into a fixed position, finding his place in the dark tapestry where the distant stars hung like suspended dust. He felt the vastness of the night wrap around him.
Below, the world was a collection of soft, blurred shadows, silent and still.
Pip adjusted his glow, refining the intensity until it matched the rhythmic, quiet heartbeat of the earth he had just left. He was no longer a traveler, but a permanent fixture in the dark. He pulsed once, a soft, golden wave that rippled outward into the cold vacuum of space, then settled into a constant,
warm brilliance. He became a nightlight for the sleeping world. The stars flickered in unison,
a silent acknowledgement of his presence. He held his position, his golden core steady and unwavering against the deep indigo.
The tension of the journey dissolved into the stillness of the heights.
Everything below drifted into a deep, calm dream, anchored by the light of the traveler who had returned to the sky.
He watched over the quiet expanse, a single, comforting point of gold in the infinite velvet night.